even decided to offer me the maximum possible compensation, I guarantee that it will significantly improve your chances on moving to the next round. Many candidates make the mistake. So many skilled engineers having trouble preparing for this. Every company wants a I know, it's sad. It's applicable to any interviews. This interview was the best interview I've ever done in my life. Welcome to Pirate King. I'm Daniel, a software engineer at Microsoft, ex-software engineer at Amazon and eBay, and also a software engineering mentor at 2 educational startups. Here, we talk about tips and tricks on how to land that successful career in tech. In this video, I'm going to share the 4 simple yet effective tips on how to ace an interview using Amazon Leadership Principle as an example. My goal is to walk you through my strategies so that you walk out with confidence and clear direction on how to ace them yourself. In fact, of all my interviews that included a behavioral portion, there has not been a single one that I was not able to move forward using this strategy. So make sure to stay until the end and take away all I'm about to offer. After this video, I'm going to talk about how I literally just aced my Microsoft interview. Why Microsoft interview in particular? This interview was the best interview out of all the interviews I've ever done in my life. And my answer to a behavioral question completely mesmerized the hiring manager that he even decided to offer me the maximum possible compensation just 2 days after the interview. So if you're interested in the entire story and my golden answer that blew him away, make sure to subscribe and get notified. I want to make a few things clear before we move on. I'm not going to talk about those well-known methods like STAR because it's already flooded the internet. How is that going to make my tips unique? Likewise, I'm not going to talk about coding interviews here. Why? Because you already know the answer. Just leak code. Solve as many questions as you can. Know your algorithms, data structures. There are tons of videos out there already. Just watch those. However, if you're interested in how to make an effective resume that drastically increases your chances on getting those interviews, click here. I'll walk you through my strategies using my personal, dark-themed resume as an illustration. Alright, how to ace an interview. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to use Amazon Leadership Principle as an example to illustrate my strategies. Why? Because it itself is a good collection of behavioral questions that any companies can ask. Also, as a software engineering mentor, I have discovered so many skilled engineers having trouble preparing for this. So I decided to dedicate a video to help them become the next Amazonian. That does not mean, however, that this strategy is just for Amazon's leadership principles. It's applicable to virtually any interviews. I've done it myself, and I guarantee that it will significantly improve your chances on moving to the next round. Just make sure to follow my steps. So let's first briefly take a look at what this Amazon leadership principle is. Basically, it is the core philosophy behind how Amazon does its business. In their own words, it defines how leaders lead and how they keep the customer at the center of their decisions. It helps them relentlessly pursue their mission of being Earth's most customer-centric company, best employer, and safest place to work. As an ex-Amazonian, I do actually agree that Amazon is the Earth's most customer-centric company, but best employer? The most important keyword that you should take away from here is leader. Not because this is Amazon, not because you're a manager, but because every company wants a leader. So the very first and the most important step to ace an interview, speak like a leader. How? By being proactive. Amazon calls this bias for action. Do you see how you don't actually need to have managerial experience or be in a leadership position to be a leader? Many candidates make the mistake of speaking a follower's voice.
There's this work that my boss asked me to work on.
I have to work on a project out of growing needs.
My manager assigned me this task that I'm really proud of.
Do you see how inevitable and unaggressive this sounds when we're looking for inspiring, assertive leaders who say, I took the initiative and kicked off a project? If you think about it, they're actually the same thing. The only difference is the nuance. The former is passive, the latter is proactive. Another reason why speaking like a leader is important is because it inherently shows ownership. Being a leader means being an owner, the person responsible. and a responsible leader will never sacrifice long-term value for short-term results. Don't say anything that implies that you had to do it out of necessity. We already know that. I know, it's sad. But present yourself as if you were in charge. Who did this? You did it. You did what? Worked on a project. Talk about the same thing, but present it in a more impactful way. Don't worry too much about the story's validity. A teaspoon of exaggeration isn't going to hurt, but reshaping your tone will change how they perceive you. Besides, how are they going to find out anyways? The second important step to ace an interview is citing your own resume. Notice how I said citing, not knowing your own resume. If you are able to cite your resume, it means that you know your resume well enough already. And since you've spent those countless hours crafting that awesome resume anyways, why not spend some time talking about it? In fact, if you walk out an interview without citing any of the experiences listed on your resume, the chances are there's a problem with either your experience or your resume, or both. Think about it. If the experience itself is great, why is it not on your resume? On the contrary, if your resume embodies all the great experiences already, why are you trying so hard to think outside them? Another reason why citing an experience on your resume is such a good game plan is because it adds credibility, or what Amazon calls earning trust. Why is an interview necessary after a resume screen in the first place? It's because it's virtually impossible to verify everything stated on your resume. How can you persuade them that you are who you claim to be? How can you convince them that your resume is indeed legit? Just cite it, now that you're given a chance to. After all, what does receiving an offer really mean? It means you've earned their trust. Now that you're talking like a leader and know your resume well enough to cite it, it's time to pick the right experience to do the storytelling. So the third important step to ace an interview is choosing the right story to talk about. Throughout your life and experience, there should be at least one project or thing that's important and impactful enough to put on your resume. Don't have such thing? If you're a student, go create one now. If you're a professional, well, think harder because there is at least one throughout your career. You just didn't think hard enough. Before I elaborate further on why choosing the right experience is important, let's take another look at Amazon's 16 leadership principles. It's obviously bloody difficult and time-consuming to prepare 2 to 3 examples for each and every leadership principle like my Amazon recruiter said. I mean, that's 48. But what if you have 2 to 3 experiences that can answer all 16 of them? Do you see where I'm getting at now? If you have an experience, it doesn't have to be multiple. One decent experience, you can virtually relate it anywhere, not just the leadership principles. For example, your remarkable experience wouldn't have had such impact if you did not obsess over your customers. Your project is acclaimed because you insisted on the highest standards. Can you dive deeper into the detail on why it's such a stunning accomplishment? Is this work a derivative of learning and curiosity? Any challenges that you had to invent and simplify? How did you deliver the results that impressed so many coworkers? The list goes on and on. This strategy's effectiveness is amplified when there is a chain of interviews. For example, there are about 5 to 6 rounds on a typical Amazon on-site interview. In each round, the interviewer will ask 1 or 2 leadership principles. At the end of the interview, they'll have an interview debrief where they gather to talk about the result. Imagine how easy it will be for them to tie the candidates' examples together, especially when they ultimately link to the one described on your resume. Isn't this an automatic credibility boost to your resume? Wouldn't it help build a sense of coherence that will help you land the job? My favorite pick is a system I developed that the chief product officer of eBay praised herself when I was only 2 years into my career. If you're interested in hearing more about it, click here. Like I said, try to find that solid experience that can be used to relate to any behavioral questions. If you think yours isn't strong enough, then make it stronger. Don't lie about your experience, but think about the presentation that can make it shine brighter. Remember, not only is it easier to prepare, it's also much more powerful to talk about 1 or 2 experiences in depth than cover multiple on surface. My last and final tip to ace an interview is frankly, practice. As cliche as it sounds, Practice makes perfect. And you won't be able to execute everything that I've shared earlier without practicing it. First of all, don't just think about what you're going to say in an interview. Write them down. Even that won't be easy. Don't be verbose, be concise. Don't be wordy, jump straight to the point. Interviewers don't have time to listen all day. They're looking for strong communicators, people who can communicate clearly and effectively. For each leadership principle, write an example or two down. Look at yourself in the mirror. Practice saying them out loud without looking at your notes. You don't have to memorize everything word to word, but practice until you feel comfortable and ready. I emphasize again, I know my strategy works because I have the empirical data. My very experience interviewing numerous companies. It's the exact game plan that I used to knock off a company. And it's exactly how I set my foot in eBay, Amazon, and Microsoft. Like I said, there has not been a single occasion where I could not clear a behavior round. What does that mean? It means that virtually everyone whom I at least had the privilege of talking to pretty much liked me. Are you interested then in how I aced my interview and blasted the mind out of the hiring manager during my interview at Microsoft? And how I not only successfully landed the job, but also walked away with the maximum compensation package possible? Subscribe because it's coming up next. We finally covered all 4 of my important tips to ace an interview. How do you guys think about them? Do you think my strategies make sense? Do you think they're effective? Are they good enough to give it a shot? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Give it a thumbs up if you found this video useful, and make sure to subscribe if you want more videos like this. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Why Microsoft? After this video, I'm going to talk about how I literally just aced. After this video, I'm going to talk about how I literally just aced. But because every company wants managers.